Yes, thank you, uh, Institute, for giving me the opportunity to share some of my views on energy conservation and auditing vis-a-vis with the IoT solutions, which is as of now, which is a very, very novel concepts, and it's getting accepted across the world on that. So my topic is a continual energy auditing with the IoT solutions, and mainly what I will be covering is main. I think I'm visible and audible proper, right?
Yeah,
Sir.
yes.
Oh, super. So my presentations is mainly on this continual energy audit, where we will be touching just a few opportunities in the power sectors. What are the segments of energy usage and its percentages? And I'll be mainly focusing on, because of my last experience about last 20 years in the small size segments and MSME segments, we will be exploring some of the opportunities in the slightly unfocused segment as far as the audit part is concerned. How this market need for the IoT has been derived, and how the Industry 4 revolution has helped IoT solutions to develop in a much, much bigger way and a much advanced way right now it's going through. Then we'll be also touching this what is IoT technologies, what are these benefits to the industry as a users. Also, we will be just touching what are the benefits of IoT solutions for the energy auditors. I'm sure there will be a lot of energy auditors in the forum, in the conference, and maybe they would be interested to know a few other applications what we are working for last couple of years, and maybe we can explore a few of the opportunities going forward. Further to that, we do have a lot of use cases of last about 7 years with IoT applications, and I'll be touching some of these use cases and showing you the benefits, how the IoT continual monitoring systems has given the benefits to the individual users and the individual applications. And further to that, I'll be also touching on this new segment, which is a residential, where we are right now working it out and providing some of the very unique solutions on the residential segment. Obviously, that's an about to be released solutions. But let's move ahead further on this. That what is the energy saving opportunity? Because in fact, I was going through few of the presentations what I mean yesterday and day before. But we talk a lot about the energy generation, whereas from the generation, in fact, now I wanted to shift the focus to the consumption of the electricity. Where if we see these energy consumptions, what is happening as per the Government of Energy Statistics data, the total energy generation is about 1.12 lakhs gigawatt per hour GWH, and then out of that, the total 100% of usage, the industry is using almost 42% of the energy, and the next usage of the industry is roughly about domestic segment, which is almost 24%. Then you have agriculture, and then the smaller segments like commercial establishments, and then a few shops, and railway takes about 1.5%. So typically, if you see the industrial usage, in industry, maybe we can bifurcate this industry into two parts, like large scale industry, which is mandated by BE for the energy audits and doing the regular energy audits, and they do the regular energy audit. However, if we bifurcate this whole segment from the industry and large scale and the MSME, MSCB is almost as per, because I could not able to get exact data from the industry that how much energy usage is happening only for the MSME part of it. However, there is some data available from the government resources of 2018, which maybe we can correlate. It could be almost same or slightly here and there numbers, but at least on a ballpark, it's almost 11 to 14% of the total. So maybe 30% is energy used by the large scale industry, whereas balance 12 to 13% energy is being used by MSME. So if we see the right now, the focus of the auditing or energy focus is only on this large scale industry, whereas all these other segments which are on the low focused area of the energy consumption because of various issues. It doesn't mean that nobody has really interest in energy savings of all these segments, but obviously there is a different concerns for all of these segments, and that's why area where there is a very low focus on the saving. So if you see all of these domestic MSMEs, commercial establishments, others. So if you take all of these, I'm barring agriculture, because the agriculture government is giving a lot of incentives for the renewable energy and renewable monitorings and solar driven pumps and all that. So barring agriculture part of it, in spite of that, still if you see that there is a lot of 50% area which is really uncovered or untapped, I will say, for the energy saving. And if we really if someone really focus on this particular segment with understanding the exact need of this segment, there is a huge opportunity for auditing. And the moment we do the auditing, obviously there is a huge opportunity for the energy saving, for individuals as a user of the energy, as well as to the nation. So I feel that this is one of the major focused area what needs to be explored, and we are in fact working on this particular segments. I'll just talk about that thing. So if we see this untapped challenges of these untapped sectors, here, as we all know that if you take a typical MSME industry, you have a really a resource problem. So you don't have a exclusive energy managers, because typically if you say MSME, you have a owner, and sometimes you have production managers or some operating heads running the overall business and the operation level, whereas the owner just move around, he aligns the productions, then goes to the supplier, goes to the customers, go to the financial institutes, banks. So he does a multiples of the roles, and same is the case with the production head who is actually working over there. So he just cannot have that kind of a resources available to go with the energy auditors or have some exclusive energy managers locally to monitor it. If we see this whole segment, even his energy cost, what we found out is almost 25 to 30% of his operational cost. In spite of that, obviously, because of this resource crunch or the operational part of it, he doesn't have any specific managers, and he just normally rely on these local electricians who has comparatively low expertise. And at many of the locations, as obvious, because of this expertise, low limited expertise of the electrician, he just manages the things, and you have a lot of imbalancing issues, and many of the times you have a tripping of the breakers happenings, and then just the electrician comes down, the owner calls up the electrician, and then they manages this whole some here and there connectivities, and works it out. Sometimes if he has a problem with the solution, problems with the breakers or things, the electrician suggests some very cheap solution like a fixed capacitor bank. That's what we have observed in many of these industries. The electrician or some consultant, the very low cheap consultants, has suggested some fixed capacitor bank, and in the night times it is giving a substantially adverse effects on the energy usage. In fact, as we have observed at many of the locations, the owners even doesn't understand the energy bill, what's being generated by the electricity, and he just pays it blindly without actually checking what's whether there is any penalties being levied, whether there is any chance to reduce the energy bill or something. But he just pays it. In fact, you will be surprised. In fact, we have seen it one of the big call center in Mumbai. He is paying almost 15 to 20% penalties on his energy bill, which is substantially high cost. But he doesn't have that kind. He says, "Okay, I'm just paying it out. I don't want to get hassles into that whole thing." So this is a substantially untapped sector, but where if we really focus it on, there is a huge opportunity for the energy savings. Sorry. So this is basically a need. Normally, what happens is a need generates the innovation. So this is the basically need. So if we focus this particular need, what was the need it has generated? They want someone to monitor remotely. He doesn't want it as a regular thing. And then energy saving has to be substantial and implementable. Plus, as we all know, as I mentioned earlier, that all these small sectors or everyone, they rely on these local electricians support, and you should not be offending him, because otherwise, because everything for all this smaller work, he relies on these local electricians. So he should be comfortable with the solutions. Saving should be again the tangibles and substantial, because otherwise he is not interested to go with this sort of solutions. ROI has to be Another major concern in these segments, or even the hospitals or the shops, the breakers where the electricity distribution panels are being done, it's in such a compact space. It is somewhere, many of the times it is below the staircase or just in near the staircase, and there is hardly any space for additional hardware to be installed in the systems, and it's too difficult to add up any of the hardwares over there. So that's what the need, what has happened. And this is not a need exclusively what we are finding it out in India. Across the globe, people have find it that this is kind of things what is needed, and we need some new ideas, new thinkings, new concepts to resolve this particular solution. And that's basically has driven the whole industry towards the innovations, and this IoT concept has come up. As we all know, I'm sure a lot of people must be aware about what is the IoTs. However, just to give you the brief about what is mean by the IoT, that is the Internet of the Things. Uh, it is basically a system of interconnecting all the devices to the network and getting it data collected, and based on this data collected, data analysis can be done and provided the solutions enabling the end users to get the benefits of it. And that's what this whole concept has come up in the industrial revolution. So in the industrial, as we all know, the need has driven this whole thing. When the steam engine has been developed somewhere in 17th or 18th century, the steam power has started, the industry started using the steam powers and started developing and providing the solutions for the automations. Hello, can I audible? Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah, sir.
I'm
Everything
sitting
is fine,
hearing
sir.
some voice at the back end, so that's what I was just wondering.
Yes, yes. No, no,
I
sir.
thought
No
someone is
voice.
asking the query or something.
No, no, sir. No, sir.
Uh,
Please continue.
okay, fine. Okay, no problem. So as I mentioned, the steam engine has started developed basic automation. Then we have electricity revolutions. When the electricity has come up, you have conveyor belts and the mass productions, and then industry has moved into the automation, partial automation, I will say, to the mass manufacturing with the conveyor belts. And somewhere in the 1980s, when we have a computer technology come up in a very big way, and that has changed the entire industry's outlook with the automation robots and the DCS and SCADA technologies and automation part of it with the local monitorings. So if you see nowadays, in all of the automobile segments are running with these automatic robots for mass manufacturing of the technology. That is the industrial 3 revolution. And of late, when the telecommunication networks and 3Gs and 4Gs network has started rolling out, it opens up another new vista for the technology. And industry has moved towards the industry 4 revolution, wherein all this telecommunication and the data network make enabled the remote monitoring of these whole solutions possible because of this data connectivity in a much faster way and much advanced speedy way. And that's where this with this telecom revolution and this computerization, microcomputerization technologies revolved these IoT solutions, which is an Internet of the thing. All the devices, all the robots, all the units are connected via connectivity via Wi-Fi or GPS connectivity, and all of this being connected to the. You can monitor the entire data on the mobiles or the smartphones. So the whole technology has been switched over to the IoT solution. So basically, I will just brief on this IoT basics of it. So in the IoT, the thing is you have a different sensors. So the sensors can be energy meters, sensors can be water meters, sensors can be thermometers, pressures, gas meters, anything. Or even today we are finding that we have IoT-based fans, air conditioners, and it opens the entire segment of the industry. It touches the entire segment of the industry, and you have a different sensors, and all these sensors are getting connected to the IoT gateways, which are the local module which is connected to the all these hardwares. And basic benefit of this IoT is a cloud computing. The cloud computing is a basically heart and the brain and everything is in the cloud computing. And the only the sensors are the dumb sensors which are collecting the data, which is even earlier people were doing the sensors manually recording of it. Whereas the cloud computing is changing this whole world with monitoring and controls and whatnot. So if you see the benefits of the cloud computing, the key benefits of the cloud computing is that because it's a there is no local hardware is needed. It's just an IoT gateway, small IoT gateway, and then from the IoT gateway, data is being uploaded to the cloud computing. So you don't need any local hardware. So the space restriction has gone. Plus, being in cloud computing, you can expand the space, you can expand the storage, you can expand the processing power in a much bigger way, it's a much easier way. So like in present, even the scalability is very easy with the cloud computing, because the moment let's say in the COVID like a scenario, when my business has been come down, I will reduce my capacity, storage capacity, and get the benefits of it. The moment my COVID scenario is over, my business is being rolling out, I have more customers, I can expand storage. The moment if I like in industry, if I'm adding up one or two machines, I can just add up the storage within few minutes. My storage capacity has been increased. Another big benefit with the cloud computing is it's a remote access. With the remote access, I can monitor my entire data from anywhere in the world. So like over here in this particular typical like a conferences, we are using this cloud computing facility. Someone is sitting in Coimbatore, someone is sitting in Calcutta or Mumbai or Ichalkaranji or wherever. I mean, we have a complete remote access as if like we are sitting in the one single conference rooms. Then you have great processing power, which provides a substantially fast computing of the analysis of the data. That with that, what happens is data analytics and the predictive forecasting becomes very easy, and I can forecast analyze the data in a much faster way instead of using all these small earlier Excel sort of solutions and working it out with that. So data processing within seconds is happening. So there is a huge benefit that the cloud computing is providing it. However, of late, I mean, maybe about till 1 or 2 years lot of concerns about the data security and the privacy about the cloud computing, because I don't know where this computer is stored, and then because of this, maybe my data will be shared with someone, or data security, privacy, and a lot of concerns were there. In fact, till 1.5 years, a lot of industry was concerned about the cloud computing. But nowadays the cloud computing is much secured, and data security is much advanced structure has been implemented. You have a lot of firewalls inbuilt into cloud computing, and that has become a much easier and ensuring the data privacy. So it's in fact some of the computing people are saying that cloud computing security is much higher than even what our local servers in colleges or in the offices are having it, because of this security part of it. So there is hardly any chance of cyber attacks on the cloud computing. The data security is much advanced, and so that's the reason the people are now moving to the cloud computing in a much bigger way, and that has improved the IoT's usage in a very big way. So even in nowadays, if you see in Europe and everywhere, the IoT is being totally is being used across the line in the robotic monitorings or machine monitoring, process monitorings, because it's very easy for the basic monitoring of the operation from the mobiles. Yeah, I can monitor my factory from if it is even if it is in the US. Because of this, as I mentioned, because of the power of this data managing, data aggregation, predictive analysis, what's going to happen, when it is going to happen, validation of the data, the entire control can be available on my smartphones. Like earlier, we have a SCADA systems. Nowadays, the entire HMIs, what is being used in these SCADA systems are being converted into the smartphones, and they can be monitored on the smartphones. So people are today using the smartphones. So even the production monitoring is possible with the IoT solutions. And another big benefit to what IoT solutions is providing to the industry is its artificial intelligence part of it. Because of the data aggregation and much faster data analysis, artificial intelligence is going to change the entire business model of the organization. Even if today we are seeing in some of these web applications like Google's and all that, they are using, or Facebook's, they are using artificial intelligence in a much faster way. You can see your searching, and then advertisements are appropriate to what you are searching it out. That's nothing but an artificial intelligence what is being built in search engines or various other things. However, that's the same thing is now going to come up shortly in the industrial segments as well, where all these monitorings can be very possible, very easy to do this part of it. Now I will just move out a little further. What's it's beneficial to us as far as the energy auditing and energy users is concerned. I mean, this is what we talk about is in general IoT concepts and what are benefits to the industry. We will now really just go in deep to the how it's beneficial to the energy auditors. See, as we have seen, the IoT solutions provides the web-based platforms. It gives alarmings, data visualization, monitoring is possible, data loggings, remote access, and you have a different connectivity hardware. So with this, typically, if I connect all those these energy meters, I can monitor how much are my each of this minute-wise energy data, and if I monitor that, I know where my losses are happening. Or if, as we all know, we have in industry we have a TOD-based energy rates. So I can shift my once I know that what are my operational hours, and if I shift my working in line with the TOD, my energy savings can be immediately achieved. It's just by monitoring the whole things. With the predictive analysis, energy efficiency can be improved. The machine motors can be monitored. The efficiency of the motors like compressors and other things, HVAC units, their efficiency can be monitored on a remote platform, and with this predictive analysis, the energy efficiency can be done. Even as you'll be surprised to note that with this IoT solution, in fact, few of our customers are using this IoT solutions for production scheduling, production monitoring. I have few of the slides on that particular part. And then the major part is the workplace safety. Today's we are hearing a lot of short circuit fires and fires in the hospitals or in the industry or in this chemical plants and all that. IoT is also providing some of the solutions as a workplace safety as far as the short circuit fires are concerned, which are typically almost, if you see, the 30% of the fires which are happening across the India are because of these short circuit fires. So I'll just these are the different benefits what can be derived, and with the energy things, it's very easy to be. In fact, we have developed, obviously, along with these electrical consultants, we have developed a few of the business models for remote monitoring of the industry. So here the thing is, what we are providing the solutions for the consultants. Like, let's say you have a factory in Mumbai, and the consultant is sitting in, let's say, in Ichalkaranji, and because of this IoT technology, what is being implemented, he can have a remote access, a remote monitoring of the factory. He can do it remotely. He can do a remote analysis. Based on this remote analysis, the continual data which is coming up on the upstream on this cloud, he can suggest some of the saving approaches. As I mentioned, that like a TOD monitorings or TOD managements and all various things, which I will anyhow touch few of the topics. What are the benefits of this? How the consultants are helping the industry by remote monitoring of this. Based on this remote recommendations, the customers pays off with the payback periods, and they sustained improved profitability happenings across the line. So remote monitoring is very easily achievable for the energy consultant, and the benefit to the energy consultants with this is that he doesn't have to visit the site, because he is getting the data continuously on his desktop. He can view this data anytime and provide a solution, so he doesn't have to really go all out and done. Obviously, when typically when the energy auditor go there, they install very high-end monitoring solutions. Here the thing is, you don't have a very high-end, but the benefit of the whole thing is you have a continual data analysis. So with the continual things, you can see the trend, and from the trend you can find out what is the happenings in the factory, or whether the problems are happenings, or and that continual cycle can be derived with the remote monitoring. And we do have tie-ups with the energy consultants who are giving us giving these services to the customers remotely. So I will just touch about this now cases, few use cases, how that is being benefiting to the individual users, and how that helps the industry as a with these IoT solutions. I'm sure I'm not so fast on the topics.
Please
Okay.
continue, sir. Everything is fine. Fine.
Okay, super. The thing is, now I'm showing you one particular case, especially where the factory was about to have a short circuit fire. In fact, we have this test case from the factory in the Nashik, and we have installed this IoT solutions in their factory at the incoming level. And the major load of these ones is of the heater coils, where they have heating cycles for the materials, and then you have some forging applications and all that, and that's a whole factory which is being associated with the automobile parts. Here the thing was, typically it was installed, and we have a they have a local consultant. Obviously he was doing the remote monitoring of this data, and with the software the problem was that due to the shorts in the heater coil, the current was R phase current was on the rise, and the system has a thing that the moment it goes beyond a certain limit, the IoT systems can be programmed in such a fashion that it can trigger alarms to the specific users, to give a alert to the user saying that yes, there is some alert scenario, and someone needs to relook into the problems and find out what's the problems is all about. And with this particular trigger, the consultant and the owners and factory managers had a consultation that what is to be done. But because it was the February period, the people were saying that no, we have targets to the meet and all that. And with the consultations from the remote consultation with the consultant and the factory owner, they run the factory for almost 2 months with controlled ambience, because they were continuously monitoring it and ensuring that there is no hotspot generation happening, and which was being monitored by the consultant on a regular basis. And they ensured that they continued with their production for almost 2 months. And after that, when the load has been over, they taken this checking for the heater coils and all. And when we observed that, in fact, we had also visited the factory. We do have few of the photographs of the site. It was a really challenging scenario when they were running it, because this is typically like what is happening in the hotspot generations. And if someone doesn't really closely monitored this particular thing in somewhere in the mid-March or something, they would have had a short circuit fire, because the cables were really heating up substantially. But only because of these IoT solutions, they what they were used to do is they were running this plant for about 10 minutes, then 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on the heating happenings and all, and they protected it. In fact, the customer was so satisfied with these particular solutions and safety. He has given us a certificate saying that yes, because of these IoT solutions and the consultants online support, we have saved our factory against the short circuit. Because we do have some of the photographs of this factory electrical wiring when we really done this, the maintenance has been carried out after the March. And then we can see that the core consumption has substantially come down, and energy usage was also within the safe limits of it. So basically the IoT, we have a test case, the use case where IoT has benefited the customer for the short circuit fires. So safety of that can be achieved with this IoT solution. There is another is obviously the energy saving with the IoT solutions. When someone is regularly monitoring it, like typically if I have a 60 amperes normal drawn current, however, because of XYZ reasons like motor issues or conveyor belt issues or compressors problems, capacitor problems, various issues, the current if starts drawing slightly above, let's say from 60, it has gone to 70 ampere. Typically, in normal scenario, you have a breaker of 110 amperes or 100 amperes and 120 amperes. And normally, if it from 60 to 70, if it goes, obviously the cable starts heating up, but it doesn't trip. The users in a normal scenario doesn't get any alerts or any monitoring things or something. However, If with this 10 amperes continual increase in the current because of non-maintenance, because of the motor issues, XYZ, um, the energy usage is being substantially increased. In fact, we do have some of the test cases where the energy has been increased almost 3 times. But typically, as I mentioned earlier, the owners or doesn't understand exactly the what's the bill is. He says, say, oh no, my why this month's energy bill has been increased 3 4 days. He just run around, monitors, and just goes off. Then again, after 1 month, he discovered, oh, again my bill has going in. Whereas with these IoT solutions, which the and the remote monitoring by the consultants, this all kind of issues can be immediately triggered out and monitored in a much faster way. Immediately, it can be triggered, and the timely maintenance saves energy wastage. What is happening on that? And because of the remote part of it, remote monitoring of it, it becomes very easy for anyone to really get data analysis done on a much faster way, and which otherwise would not have been possible in a normal scenario. So continual monitoring is really, and with the IoT solutions, it's really giving much benefits to the customers and ensuring that data is being managed very easily. Then we have another test case of the soap factory in the Jalgaon, where because of the dust and alkaline ambulance they have ambience, because there were a lot of motor burnouts. So continuously you have a dusty ambience, and then once the motor burnt out, you have a downtimes maybe for few hours, changing of the belts or changing of the problem and then rectifying it, and then the whole factory was down for few hours. And in fact they were discussing with us, their consultant was also in touch with us, and then we provided him the IoT solution for few of the his major production lines. And on these lines, on its conveyor belts and motor, the system was giving, is now giving the regular alerts to the users. Remotely, consultant monitors this whole things, and in consultation with the local energy manager, they take the corrective actions like timely maintenance, timely ensuring that motors are being overhauled properly, conveyor belts are being tightened properly, and all. Besides that, they are also ensuring that the help of the production team, saying that, see, these are the alerts which are coming up, and especially for the process monitoring and energy conservation. So basically, these IoT solutions is one is energy alerts, especially as the problems are concerned. Whereas it also can be used for the production team for energy savings per se. They were what they were doing is they were setting the targets for the energy for the daily usage in the production team, and the access was also given to the production head so that he can monitor his usage, per day wise usage, and as he also gets an alert saying that my your daily energy usage has been increased for a certain particular area, and then corrective actions can be taken. So the whole it benefits the industry for the preventive maintenance as well as the saving of the energy with this remote monitoring and continual monitoring. Then we do have a, sorry, we do have a compressor monitorings in the workshops. In fact, as you can see of the train, the current was on the rising on the compressors because of some burnouts and all that, and because of that energy was vested on this. So something similar solutions can be implemented for HVACs compressors, or even the major compressors in the industry, or any of these high power appliances for the industry part of it, so that your energy saving and energy achievements can be done easily. And consultants, if you see this particular data, this particular trend, he can immediately find out, he can do the analysis very easily remotely, and do uh, predictive analysis and detailed reports. He can send it out to the end users. There is another, as I mentioned earlier, there is another unique opportunity which is available with the IoT solutions, like a production monitoring. In fact, this is one of the test cases which we are really proud of for the printing press in Mumbai, where they have installed these IoT solutions on the printing press itself, and they are monitoring at what time the factory has started, the plant has started. So typically the process in the printing is that once they start machine, they load the papers, they load the whole the inks and all that, and they first do the trial run. On the trial run, they just see whether whether printing is coming properly or not. And then after that, once the printing is being done, this is being checked by the quality head or the printing head, and then the continual full mass manufacturing is done till the ink exhausts. Then again the ink filling and reprinting of the whole things, cleaning of the screens and all. That's the whole process, and that's the whole process. They are monitoring it from the remote, from the head office, as because they have a factory in Mumbai as well as they have a factory in, I mean, they have a printing press in Mumbai as well as there is a one more printing press in Haryana where they have a similar press, and they have operational consultant, they have energy consultants, the head office is monitoring. So in fact, we are given almost 5 or 6 access to the different users, different consultants for this monitoring of this whole process. And the IoT is giving them a substantial benefit in the production improvements, production planning improvements, and varieties of the things. So IoT, in fact, has, as I mentioned earlier, a couple of things. IoT is ensuring to give the benefits to the customer, and like production improvements, energy saving. Plus, if there is any problems in the usage, or if any motor problems, conveyor problem, that can be immediately detected, and concerned team can take care of the timely maintenance part of it. So that's the whole benefits of the printing press solution, the IoT solutions of this. And now I'll just show you how these remote reports are being generated by the different consultants for the different application. Obviously, for this data, ensuring data security and all that, I just hidden the customer names and the consultant names and all those for the security purpose of it. But typical, this is the kind of a trend what and the reports what the customers are, what the consultants provided to the industry. Like at particular day when your factory was having low, you have a lot of spikes, and just check out why these spikes has come up or why the energy usage has been increased, whether there is any excess usage was happening. So varieties of things can be analyzed, and being an energy auditors, they know the much advanced systems, and they can really monitor and analyze this data very clearly. Because typically what happens when they sign the contract with the end users, the end user provide him the appliances and units used and what are the things are available, and based on that he can analyze that how much energy should be used and how much energy should be worked out, and based on that he can provide this entire various kind of reports to the customer. Then another thing what consultants are also providing to the industry is a usage trend. So based on the usage happenings, they can also they are barring setting up the baseline that this is based on your equipments installed. You should have this much of on an average 8 hours running. Your energy consumption should be, energy usage should be units this much, 52,300 average. But your energy usage is vibrating between the things, and why there is a things, why there is a increments happening, whether it's because of this high production. Because normally what happens is when we were discussing with the industry, the owner says I doesn't know why the unit energy bill has gone up, but with the daily energy usage countable on these IoT solutions and continual monitoring is happening, he can exactly pinpoint that on day 18 or day 18 your energy consumption has gone up because of excess load of high manufacturings, or because of some machine problems, or various things, issues on this part. So it's very easy to pinpoint that why this has happened, when it has happened, and how to rectify that scenario to ensure that energy usage can be uh, controlled within the limits, and or even reduced it substantially. So in fact, there are a couple of things what IoT systems are providing to the small scale industries, and we found a lot of small scale industries and medium scale industries are going for this IoT kind of solutions with the data integrations and all that. Typical problems like the load imbalancing, the motor problems. In fact, this is one sample case of the coal mines where we have installed this solution. When the coal mines motor was properly winded and properly working it out, this was the first when all the three phases were correctly working out. But when over the time, because of the dust and the mine's ambience, coal dust and all, the motor's winding has goes really haywire. And what we were observed that earlier, before this IoT solutions are being installed, they were telling us that at least once in a year our heavy duty fans or heavy duty motors are giving a problems, and the whole of the coal mines has to be stopped for few duration, because these are the fans that are being used to pull off the airs from the mines. And for that, these heavy duty, I mean, in fact, I've seen, you'll be surprised, it's more like airplane fans. I mean, you just cannot stand in front of those fans blow, because they're very very heavy fans to blow the air from the coal mines inside. And the maintenance of this is also very very difficult, because these are all HT motors. And with these IoT solutions, they used to get it immediate alerts if there is any problems. And electrical consultant who is sitting somewhere, and somewhere maybe 300 kilometers away, he by monitoring just a train in a day, once in a day, yeah, he can know that yes, the motor is now giving a problem, or there is a much vibrations in the energy patterns. And he can call up the local maintenance people, local electrician, and get the things done. With this, it saves a huge amount of time, because HT motor rewinding is a big cost to the coal mines, and it's few lakhs of rupees they are spending on these heavy HV motors rewinding. And earlier, because when there was no monitoring or no IoT solutions, they used to do some audits and here and there, and no proper controls were there, and then the motor burnouts were happening. So it has saved a substantial saving, given the substantial saving to the end customers. This is another report that has been given by a Pune consultant sitting in for a factory which is almost 200 kilometers away. So he was observing some of these dangerous scenarios, what is happening in this, why there are spikes. So there are various reports which can be derived from IoT solutions with the continual monitoring. And it can give something like this one, that where you have a lot of triggers happening. This is basically a simple case, like you have a contact problems, and then because of the loose contact there was a high surge which is coming up, and this all leads to your short circuit fires, where this, because of this loose contact, the cable opens out and it touches somewhere else, and then you have a short circuit fires. And with these IoT solutions, these whole problems can be detected at very very early stages. Obviously you have a scanning rate, scanning frequency, it matters, but however, when it is on and off and all of this, if it is a continual monitoring, you can really check it up and get the data on a very easily, how whether there is any contact problems happenings or unique spikes which are coming up the whole systems. There is another, as I mentioned earlier, that we have hospital installations in few of the things where we have installed in hospitals for the ventilators, and this we have installed the solutions in ICU unit, where the doctors are monitoring the ventilator performances and the room air conditions. By monitoring this ventilator, the pulses, they were mentioning that this is something like what I'm getting. There's health monitoring devices which are being installed in the ICU for the particular patients to monitor the whole heartbeats and the performance of the patients. And with these ventilators, they could able to monitor that how the things are. Similar, they have data for these dialysis equipments which are running for 8 hours, and then they can see and get the data very easily and provide the solutions and make the proper controls on that. Another very unique solutions what we have supplied it to the banking segment is again with IoT solutions, where we have installed this IoT solution in the 4 branches of the individual bank, and they were monitoring these whole solutions in individual banks. So with this IoT solutions, what we are providing on the smartphone to the user, that if there is any excess current is being drawn, the local branch manager can also get the alerts. Plus, at the central office, they are monitoring each branch's performances. And in fact, the thing is, they are calculating the energy uses per square feet, because each branch size is different. One branch maybe one branch could be about 500 square feet, the other could be about 2000 square feet. Obviously the energy usage of 500 against 2000 is much much lower. However, in the central office, they are monitoring it with the energy usage per square feet wise, and then putting all of the branches in a one single platform and analyzing this each branch consumption, and they are devising competition between the branches. In fact, we had done this pilot with one of the scheduled banks in Mumbai. However, because of this COVID scenario, the things cannot be expanded further, and we will be going once this COVID part is over. But there is a lot of opportunities for the banking application. Again, the same thing. The remote monitoring can be extended to the energy consultants, and they can even further suggest a few of the things which even the normal persons cannot able to understand, like AC controls. In fact, we are planning to install that AC controls also in for the ATM monitorings, and there are various things what can be derived with the IoT solutions and the cloud management, where the continual monitoring really helps the users for saving part of it. Now I think I'll just because this covers our existing part of it, but I just wanted to touch a few things about the paradigm shift what we are presently working it out on a commercial and residential applications using novel IoT platform. This is basically a total paradigm shift to what we are working out because of the IoT, and that's what I would like to show you some of the slides of our launches and how that solution is benefiting to the industry. I mean, we are not talking about our specific thing, but I would be talking about how this solution is changing this whole world. And it's not something what we are inventing something. It's been already partially used, and we are just working it out with some additional things with the novel IoT platforms, data minings and data analysis, what is being done across the lines. So this paradigm shift, what I will be talking about is basically for these commercial establishments and hospitals, banks, where the typical load is of the single phase, where right now the auditing and all that is really far away. Because if you see any of these banks, or if in any of the offices, or even in the hospitals, you have a main three incoming phase which are coming up on a particular floor, or even at the ground floor. These three phases being distributed across the individual feeders, which, and you have a single phase level. Because unlike in industry where we have a motors which are running three phase, the machines which are three phase, the moment we shifted to the commercial and residentials, or general industrial offices and other parts, you have major load is air conditioning and single phase load, basically a single phase load. People have already moved with this BE guidance and the government's directives, already moved it from the normal CFL lightings to the LED lightings, and substantial saving has been already achieved as far as this lighting part is concerned. But still, as we all know, the if you take any of the office energy bill, the 70% of this is from the air conditions which are installed, and many of the times these air conditions are in such palpable conditions that they are drawing a power in I mean they are just power buyer sort of a thing. I mean they just consumes the power as an without the unlimited sort of controls. You don't have much capacitors, and they are not monitored also, because you don't have any space also to have. So typically, if I wanted to do a monitoring in this particular ambience, I need to install. If I wanted to monitor, let's say 15 feeders of this, I need to install 15 meters, and then I have IoT gateways and a number of things, which is impossible vis-a-vis with concerning with the space available in the particular things. And it is not viable also to have each of these continual meter monitoring and all that, which is each meter cost almost 10 to 15,000, and then you have cities and whatnot. So it's impossible to have a monitoring as of right now, and that's where we talk about, I think, a paradigm shift, where the granular monitoring is presently not possible using the existing sort of metering structures what we are using it for years together. And that's where we started exploring out what best the IoT can give us the ideas, or what kind of things, and we were exploring what things we can do and with the IoT solutions. And we along with our technology partner from USA, we derived a very unique solution, wherein we started using this very high-end microcomputer, or a microcomputer, I will say, in a much compact way, and we installed. The solution comes up with this clamp-on sensor, like clamp-on cities, so that you don't have to remove any of the cables from the site. You just clip on each of these feeders with the clamp-on cities like this, and with the clamp-on, all these clamp-on cities comes with the headphone jack pins, so that you don't need to do any of the wirings. And the controller, as I mentioned over here, it's being so compact that it is slightly bigger than our smartphones, and the entire energy calculations, entire energy monitoring is happening in this particular controller. Obviously it doesn't do much of the powerful energy analysis of it, but it does the needed, because even in the small hospitals or the banks, you have a three-phase connections, and the customer is being built based on the energy usage, and it is not being built like industry with the TOD rates or variable rates. Obviously at some of the places it is there, but in majority of the cases where you have a single phase load, the billing is happening based on the kWh usage. So we are monitoring kWh over here. We are monitoring the kW and the currents, and we provide this whole data on the smartphones to the individual users, and with the individual feedings. And as well, you can do the with this solution the energy auditing also. Like you have a main incoming over here. I installed 3 cities over here, and then on each of these major 16 feeders or 8 feeders, depending on that feeder box, I connect my clamp-on cities, and the installation is very easy. Just clip it on, and no wiring hassles, nothing. Any the plain local electrician can do this sort of an installations. Even he doesn't have to do any of these wire changes or anything. And he just installed this controller, which is Wi-Fi enabled. Just can get connected to the cloud, and that's it. And then the entire data can be within a few minutes. Installation is over by local electrician, and the data can be available to the end user on his mobile, and he can do the daily energy order. As I mentioned, I'm monitoring the energy of the incoming. Let's say this is 100. Each one of these feeders energy can be monitored as well. Each of these feeders energy can be um, alerted, like you can set individual alerts for the individual feeders, like let's say feeder point number 4 is drawing 10 amperes, or feeder 7 is drawing 20 amperes, feeder 8 is drawing maybe 30 amperes or something. You can set the individual feeders appliances what are being installed on that particular feeder, and set up the limits individually, and monitor the individual data as well as the combined data on your smartphone. And that's the whole switching. Plus you can incorporate the smart switches into this whole solution in the mobile application itself, so that you can switch it on, switch it off, or you can schedule your smart switches applications accordingly, and work it out how energy saving, energy conservations can be done. Because of the audit part of it, it becomes very easy for the individual user to pinpoint that, okay, my feeder number 4, feeder number 6, and feeder number 12 is drawing higher power. I can check it up on this and work it out what best I can do to save my energy. And this data can also be available for the energy consultants or the energy auditors of that particular branch, or banks or hospitals, or even to the local electrician. Because of this simplicity in the data of the software, you can really monitor and get those analysis done on his and the simple electricians or auditors can do that analysis very easily. And because of this microcontroller and microcomputer technology, and much benefit with these IoT solutions and IoT cloud gateways and all that, we are even breaking the price barriers, and affordable solution is being offered to the hospitals, the banks, and various customers. In fact, this solution we have launched in the May itself. And if you see a typical, I will just touch this at typically what is happening is you can monitor if, as we all know, in the typical in the offices or in the banks, your air condition is running for almost 8 to 10 hours. So if your AC is particular 1.5 ton, and if it is running for 10 hours, with this continual monitoring and by setting the targets for the energy usage, you have a saving opportunity for almost 1,000 rupees a month. And with our solutions, with the monitoring and that, then you can have a ROI of just 6 to 8 months of time, because in the offices and all, the air conditions are the major load, and many of the times people go out, the air conditions are on, and then you have all the wastages what is happening. Further to that, as we all know, in a lot of private banks, there is a limit what has been set for the energy, for the time, for the temperature of air condition, that it should be about 25 degrees or 24 degrees. But many of the time, because of the ambience, the customer, the cabin owners just changes the temperature, and then you have energy, excess energy which is being pulled out, which goes unnoticed across the line. Whereas with this particular system, you can set a limit for the daily usage, and with the daily usage limit, the moment you change this 18 degrees or 20 degrees for the air conditioners, obviously it starts pulling the more power, and you can have the alerts to the local person saying that you are now consuming much higher power, and even with the software can tell you with the predictive analysis that your energy bill could be this much 10% higher or 15% higher than the planned detail. So with this solution, it gives a substantially big power saving opportunities to the users, and can have a ROI of just 6 to 8 months times. Sorry. In fact, we had shown these particular solutions to the hospitals to start up with, because nowadays what is happening is, because of this COVID scenario, a lot of offices, even the banks are working with the skeleton capacity. Offices are almost everyone is working in the work from home concept. We had explored these solutions for the hospitals to start up with, because unfortunately the hospitals today are running at the full capacity, and really doctors and support staff doesn't have any time to monitor all these energy related part, and they're only focused on this patient's health, patients monitoring. So in fact, this solution they found out at much beneficial to them. And what the doctors were telling us that, in fact, as we all know, a few years back, maybe 3 or 4 years back, that there was a fire in the JJ hospital, in the incubators, where the unfortunately the child has been burned because of uncontrolled power gone into the incubators, and then it hits up, and unfortunate scenario had happened. With this continual single point monitoring, with the granular level monitoring, this whole scenario can be avoided. In fact, when we installed on a pilot basis in one of the hospital in locally over here in Mumbai, we were surprised to find that they had basically three special rooms um, for the patients, and all the three has 1.5 ton air conditions running. Although all the three air conditioners are running 24/7, 24 hours continuously, as the patients were there in the hospital. One air condition was drawing much higher power, because as per this 1.9 ton, it's supposed to draw X amount of energy, whereas this particular air condition was drawing much higher power. Doctor was also surprised, or even the local electrician was surprised, that why there is a problem. And then when we explored this, the system has given the alert within a 1 day's time or 2 days time. The doctor was started getting the alerts on his mobile saying that your this particular feeder is drawing much more power for the day. And when we detected this, the air conditions the capacitors was gone off, and then a lot of energy has been wasted on this particular. And in fact, after the system has detected, the local person, the ward boy has came out to us that saying, yes sir, there was the MCB was tripping on the regular time, but we were just switching it out, and because the patient was there, we were switching off this MCB, and we continued with this. So with this, he found out that this is very economical solution and very beneficial solution. With this, he can save at least 5 or 10% of his power, which is the substantial bill as far as the hospitals are concerned. and immediately he has given us the order saying that yes, whatever you have done it for the pilot, it has to be installed on a regular basis, and I wanted to install this in not only in my this hospital, but two of my friends hospital also. I'm giving you the confirmation. So this granular level monitoring is now going to change this whole world, from this high-end monitoring. And not only this, the benefit to the auditors. It's not only the sales energy. In fact, this, because of this granular level, minute-wise minute monitoring of this whole continual monitoring, we were already discussing with few of the consultant that you monitor this data for the specific hospitals or the specific banks remotely on your smartphone, and provide some of this technical assistance to the hospitals, so that one saving is very obvious, like all this, as I mentioned in the air conditioned part of it. But there are still a lot of saving opportunities which are available, which energy auditors can really discover and find out how the best it can be done. And with the optional smart switches, they can ensure that if the patient is not there, the air conditions cannot be switched off, the schedules can be done. And there are a couple of things with the granular monitoring comes up, and the hospital solutions or something similar solutions, what we are exploring it out. And we found that IoT has opened up a substantially large vista for the granular level monitoring for the shops. In fact, we are discussing few of the jewelry shops who has maybe a three-story showrooms, and they wanted to monitor each show. So if someone is not there, the owner wants to switch it off the lights automatically, or with the schedulings with the smart switches. So we are also discussing with the jewelry shops in Pune, where they can switch it off, switch it on the lights as per the customer availability, and saves the energy. So there is a lot of saving opportunities, as I mentioned, available in this non-focused segments like hospitals or shops, where till now the energy auditors reach was quite limited on this. Now with this whole solution, I just wanted to touch, I think I'm within the time limit, I just have one or two slides more. I just wanted to touch something which is a very, very novel solution, what we are working it out, and hardware and everything is ready, and we are planning to launch these solutions for the single phase in detail monitoring with the IoT's analytical capability, and the whole hardware is ready. I'll just briefly touch how this solution is all about. So typically in our apartments, in the apartment buildings, we have a main incoming three-phase coming in the basement in the meter room. We have individual meters for the individual users, and meters are being followed by the breaker, and then this power is being entire cable is being laid to the individual apartments, whether it's the first floor, 10th floor, or 5th floor, depending on that. The power is being fed across. And right now, what we do is, as per the bill meter uh, installed, we get the bill according to that, and then we pay the bill. We didn't know whether it's a higher usage, my energy usage is within the limits, or whether I have some saving opportunities available for my resident. Because if you see the residential energy usage, which is roughly almost 20%, and if we save any of these over here, there is a huge opportunity available for the energy conservation. And even the home, in fact, as we all know, that smart metering concept in Europe or in US is in a very big way. UK is doing it mandatorily, even in Germany, Spain, Italy, they are going in a big way with the smart metering solutions. Whereas with this IoT things in our Indian ambience today, we can have something similar solutions, not touching this existing meter, but having some additional hardware. And this additional hardware, what we are talking about is with this clamp-on CTs, we are installing a clamp-on CTs after the meter, before the maybe after the breaker or before the breaker. Each this clamp-on CT is for the individual users. From that CT, the data is collected on my controller, and that controller hardware is ready. And this controller is a Wi-Fi enabled, and it sends the data. That's a basically beautiful smart IoT gateway what we have developed with our some of the technology from USA, and that is being connected to the cloud. So the entire individual users can be monitored And the typical solution is like this, that we have individual users that has been connected to the controller. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this controller is very compact, slightly bigger than our smartphone. Typical the size is our laptop chargers, almost that much, and then it collects the entire data on a minute wise from the each users, sends it to the cloud. And with this cloud analytics, cloud analytics platform, what we are right now developing, and the whole software development of this Android application is going on presently. But we are getting this data on the cloud from the pilot site where we have installed this solution. And the users can set his limits, alert levels, alarms. And in fact, in this particular solution, what we will be providing is that typically if we see a particular home application where again, like industry or like in the hospital, the major load is of the air condition, and which air conditions are typically run in the nights only between 11 or 10 to morning 5 or morning 6. Our solution, our software will enable the customer to set an energy target limit based on the usage. He can set his air conditioners settings in the application, and between 11, because normally what happens in between 10:30 11, all the another appliances are being off, like kitchen appliances or fans are off, and the major load is of the air condition. And then he can set up a limit that my energy usage should be within this particular limit for that particular schedule time between the nights. And all those alarms can be set by the users, and he can set up as per his energy drawn by those air conditions. And he can set a limit so that he can even monitor, even if it is a granular level monitoring, he can monitor appliance level monitoring by setting the specific alarms and specific settings based on the usage. He can set up an alarm for the specific for the kitchen appliances, because typically kitchen appliances are running in the morning hours, and set up the separate alarm for the kitchen appliances. So even if the microwave is drawing a little higher power or something, he can get alerted accordingly. So this is a solution what is being derived from these IoT solutions, IoT technologies for the residential application, what we are working it out. And we feel that it has a substantially big opportunity available going forward. So what we as an industry, and as we all know, as I mentioned earlier, that smart monitoring with the IoT solutions is opening a huge vista for the MSMEs, as well as for the hospitals, banks, hotels, and other segments, which are presently untapped as far as the energy auditors is concerned. What we are providing is an opportunity for the energy auditors to come into these segments with these IoT solutions. We are providing the data to the cloud data to the consultants. They can identify energy consumption patterns and analyze it, and provide the tips to the individual users like hospitals or the banks or the hotels. Even the hotel is another big opportunity what is available for the users on the energy conservation. So the saving recommendations and basically on the maintenance tips, and the last benefits to the end user is a saving in the rupee terms, direct saving, and the fire safety, because fire safety is today is a major concern about the whole IoT. So if I go back to my first slide where we were focusing that domestic, MSMEs, commercial, and others, with the IoT solutions availability, it becomes a very easy solutions can be derived with the IoT, and with the help of the energy electrical auditors, the continual monitoring becomes a very economical solutions for this unfocused segment. Because right now, yes, we of these industries, MSMEs, and not MSMEs, sorry, the large scale industries are already taken care by the energy auditors, and you have limitations on that. However, in this focused area, which is almost 50% of this whole focus, if really done by the energy auditors and with the help of the IoT technology, it becomes a huge opportunity for the auditors as well as for the nation's benefit. That even if we save the 10% of it, maybe one of the power plant can be shut down because you have a huge 50% of the 50%. If you say 5 or 10%, the 10% saving is a massive saving for the nation. And when we are driving towards the green economy and green technology, this is one of the unique solutions what IoT platform is providing to the users and to the consultants. So what I feel that IoT, just to sum up this whole presentation, this IoT technology opens up this new opportunities of the energy conservation by the remote auditing as well as the continual monitoring. So it opens up the totally new opportunities and new vistas for the users as well as to the consultants as well as to everyone basically. And basically it's like a typical paradigm shift, like as we were in the institutes and all that. Now as we are seeing that in educational systems, because of this COVID scenario last 1.5 years, we are seeing the total paradigm shift. We have a lot of online courses, online trainings, and nothing in the face-to-face things. That's whole, like the scenario, like IoT technology is going to do something similar wonders in the energy auditing, energy conservation with the remote monitoring and with the help of energy auditors. It becomes very easy to do the whole auditing part of it. That's all about my presentations. And if you have any queries or questions, maybe we can take up the things. I think I am within the time limits as scheduled.
True, sir. True.
Yeah.
Is there any question from the participants?
Thanks.
Please, you can ask
That's,
directly
sir,
by
great. It
unmuting
was a
yourself.
it was a great presentation, and you have shown that how IoT can be used in number of the applications. That's the great part. And actually, you are using somewhere. These are some of the case studies, and now it can be scale up in big way at our area also, because we need to create awareness about how to use IoT for commercial, hospital, even for the residential usage also. Whether you are all this are modular or all of the
Yes.
tailor made, that is we need to do develop or something are
It's a
ready
modular. It's a modular.
modular. Okay.
See, basically the thing is we do have some modules ready, and
Okay.
sometimes if some specific requirement comes up, we can tailor it also according to applications. That both the thing, because we have our software team available to do, and the whole
Okay.
cloud management and the software part is in under our control. So we can do
Correct.
any specific tailor mading or specific applications possible.
Even one more what thought came in my mind, in some of the application, whenever
Yes,
we
sir.
go for the audits, it is not possible that they may not directly use or rather purchase this all this your IoT based system. Can we use some what you call as a testing kind of the kits actually, so that we can go and we can fit there, we can put them for the instrumentation as 1 day, 2 day, or 1 month like this, and again then we can take back, because while taking readings, what happens that loads are very fluctuating. So whenever we go on that basis, we'll do analysis of that or particular appliances, but we don't know what happens throughout the
Correct.
month or the per week. Is any such kind of the arrangements are there? Can we do like this?
Yes, in fact, we do had got a similar queries from electrical consultant. We have developed a small kit with these IoT solutions, with the
Great.
entire metering hardwares and everything inside, and with the clamp-on cities, or sometimes not clamp-on, because it depends on the current rating of the user. Because sometimes you have 100 amperes, sometimes you have 10 amperes. So what we had done is we provide maybe the cities can be optional, or maybe we can have a different cities for the different applications, or maybe
Correct.
some three or two or three different sets of the city. But the entire thing is in the compact box. In fact, I don't have a photograph, but otherwise I'll share with you the few of the photographs of our demo kits what we have provided to the consultants. In fact, to some similar solution we have given it to the railways, to the Matunga workshop in Mumbai. They have taken the kit for the monitoring, and they take this kit to the site. They, as you rightly said, they install this kit for about a 1 week time at the site, and those solutions comes with the GPS as well as Wi-Fi. So with the GPS things, it continuously they keep on continuously monitoring the data for about a week's time, see that whether machine has been properly done, maintenance has been done properly, and then they take back and do that. In fact, these sort of things, the development kit, I mean that's portable kits, we have supplied it at least 3 or 4 locations.
Great, great. Kindly share all the details, that is brochure or all the technical details
Yes.
to our mail, so that we'll go through this and we'll again give it back to you, sir. Great, but you are doing great, sir. Great, great options are available. That means whatever we need, that you are going to provide that solutions to that. Even that about the consumption regarding that air conditioner, that also very good. That we can decide that it is as good as a prepaid card kind of the things you have developed for that. How much you want to spend
Absolutely.
in terms of electricity per day, that also can be done automatically. It will make off and other things. That's great. Even have you done any combination? Suppose sometimes if we increase the temperature of air conditioner from 24 to 27 degrees Celsius, sometimes we need to run the
Yes.
fan in order to maintain the air movement. So any combination has been done,
Correct.
and whenever the fan should work and other things.
See, these things can be, I mean, this is basically user specific things.
Correct.
See, basically, let's say typically as you can get a data on the daily basis. Now, let's say if you've done that, one fan is running and then air condition you set up on a day, one particular day, if you've done that, you can get or maybe 3 days if you run that, you will get an average value of the energy usage for the day based on the energy consumptions on that. You can monitor the energy consumption patterns on the daily basis, like day 1, day 2, day 3. And then you can have analysis that yes, this is a typical my energy usage. Next day, maybe next 3 days, if you do the trial for with the little higher temperatures or little different temperature settings, see the analyze that is what is the benefit of these IoT solutions and the continual monitoring, that you can really get analytics done in a much faster way. If I see this last 10 days data with the 3 different scenarios, it becomes very easy to analyze that yes, if I do with this particular things, I can get my energy saving done in a much better way, much better facilities can be done, and that's all possible because of the software's availability and this intelligence. What we can how much intelligence we built into the software, and that's integrable. And the benefit of this is that okay, if someone wants it, we can just install some additional applications into this, and we can get the bigger benefits with this IoT technologies. I think someone was asking a query regarding residential complex for the common lightings and what would the approach be. Yes, costing, yes, we are working it out, but obviously I will just brief you about the costing part of it. Typically, if you see the cost of the unit per user could be his 3 or maximum 4 times energy bill of his per month. So typically, even if you say about 2,000 rupees, his average energy bill, or 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, if his average bill is coming up, a typical average cost can be roughly about 6,000 to 7,000 rupees per user of the solution, with no additional subscription free or no additional hardware for the 1 year. After 1 year, obviously you have a Wi-Fi connectivity available. If you have a Wi-Fi connectivity, it's just a nominal cost for the AMC part of it. So that's what in fact, when we were working out on this solution for the residential, the major objective what we devised, what we focused on is the cost factor. Because if someone is paying let's say 2,000 bill, he cannot afford 10,000 rupees solutions, and it becomes too difficult for him to have the profitability and the saving achieved with this. So that's where we started this solution development with price target of let's say 6,000 to 7,000 rupees, and start developing the solutions. And we are feeling that yes, we are within that particular limit once we launch the solution. In fact, we are planning to launch these residential solutions somewhere on the Ganesh Chaturthi day. Hopefully, if the whole thing works out, on that auspicious day, we will be planning to launch the residential solutions. And going forward, we feel that it opens up a huge vista for IoT technology in India.
Great, sir. You are doing great contribution to the nation as far as energy conservation is concerned by supporting with the IoT. Hats off to your all these innovations and different applications, and all the best wishes for the inauguration in the month of, I think, Ganesh Chaturthi. You want to launch that product.
Yes.
Best wishes from all SIT family, as well as all the participants. Yes. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you. Great. Any questions from any participants? Yeah, great. It was great session. Jamadar sir.
Oh, super. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think Dr. Vimal Kumar has also joined, next resource person.
Yes.
Welcome, sir. Vimal ji. Yeah.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning. Yes. Jamadar sir, just first we'll conclude this.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing such a wonderful session. You have delivered a lot of things, and we learned also and which will be very helpful in the future. And we will approach. I hope so. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just
Thank
remove
you.
my presentation and give you the, or maybe you can take it directly from the side.
Yes, yes. And you make that Dr. Vimal Kumarji as the presenter, so that he will start.
Okay, sir.
Vimalji, make camera on.